So we've seen two series from each of these teams. Good rundown for you guys. Ascend, they're just the European KCP. They are very good at just overwhelming you with constant pressure. They fight all the time. Anytime they come off spawn, they're looking to just start shooting as soon as they can. Their weakness is if you are slaying them out, they don't know how to slow down and just let fights come to them. They're basically only ever holding forward. So if you are able to keep up with them in the slaying department, they don't know how to react. Na'Vi, their teamwork is really shoddy, but they're very good at power weapon and power up control. The They do a great job making sure they set up for power weapons. They play patient when power weapons are coming up, and they get those and they transition those into kills or objectives a lot of the time. But if you deny them those power weapons, they seem kind of lost. Their teamwork is very much just brute force things open and pray it works. They give up a lot of space on the map because of it. They're not good at concaves or holding angles. I feel like if they were to run into G2, G2 would really heavily expose the problems with Navi's gameplay. G2 are very much a team that focus on concaves. Tusk is a great player at making sure his team's spacing is very widespread and covered. Quadrant, the third place team, their teamwork, on the other hand, is amazing. They're very good at collapsing together, working in pairs without working the exact same angles. Unfortunately, they outside of the oddball game we saw, they don't really seem to have a good grasp of how to play objectives very well. They they were doing fairly well at just swarming spawns, so they get their objective wins off a lot of that, where they get enemies in shitty spawn situations. But like we saw, every Aquarius flag run they tried was all through utility. They didn't ever try to adapt to the situation. They didn't try to run any fast flags. They never ran the flag based off their team's positioning on the map. It was always just, oh hey, we've got an enemy base, we've got them killed. Let's grab the flag and run to utility. So they don't really seem to think about the objectives that much. Lings, on the other hand, they have a really poor understanding of space in Halo. But the thing that was really standing out and really impressive from them is their opening strategies were all very well practiced, very well executed. Almost every game they played, they had the advantage off the start. So the thing for them is they don't know what to do with those advantages well enough to really convert that into series wins. And there was the whole debacle over the Quadrant versus J-Links game where it went into overtime and they had a great start, but the observer had lagged out and the other observer ended the game. But we saw in two different situations where they had this great opening that they didn't convert it to a cap. So I don't even think they have the right to say, oh, hey, we definitely had this game based off of that, because there were situations where they grabbed the flag and they didn't know how to retake the map or deal with the overextended players in a way that would have guaranteed that even with one rocket in the flag carrier's hands, that they would have turned that into a flag. I think out of these teams, the only one that's really a threat to North American teams is Ascend, and that's solely on whether or not they can break into top six. Beyond that, they're not going to beat Sentinels. They're not going to beat Optic. They're not going to beat probably even FaZe. They definitely won't beat Cloud9 or Optic. Those are guarantees. Will like stake my life on that. Basically, Ascend will not beat either of the top two teams. Sentinels, FaZe, E United, even well, E United would probably be the biggest threat to Ascend's playstyle because they're so good at playing slow and just breaking up that aggression that Ascend thrive on trying to just keep the game chaotic. E United are going to slow that down and just put a dead stop to that when they meet. But that is the read on these four European teams. I had previously only given a good read on the top two when I was doing my audit on the HCS bracket show recently.